Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Unstuck movement. I am your host, 𝐔𝐳𝐬𝐭. This platform was created for you to break the chains that have been holding you back in your life, whatever they might be. So, I love to bring people on this podcast who have amazing stories of breakthrough, because I think life is all about breakthrough. Getting unstuck is about finding the breakthrough in your life and breaking another level of a plateau that you found for yourself to see your higher potential. I want to thank the sponsor who makes this podcast possible, the Connected Leaders Academy, run by 𝐔𝐳𝐬𝐿. So if you want to check out the details in the description of the show, click on the link for the Connected Leaders Academy, find out what 𝐔𝐳𝐬 and the CLA is all about. It's been life-changing for me, and I'm sure it will be for you also. Today, I have the incredible, the powerful, the wonderful Kathy Mincer on the podcast. So almost 12 years ago, Kathy found herself in an emergency room due to her own actions involving alcohol and recreational drugs. After a 3-day admission, Kathy had a moment of clarity and embarked on a journey to improve her life with the support of some wonderful women and her higher power, God, guiding her through the challenges. 6 months into her journey, she faced severe respiratory issues. A friend introduced Kathy to something that would change her life, a sample of Young Living peppermint oil. Breathing it in, it brought her incredible relief. From that moment, Kathy and her husband's journey into the world of essential oils began. Today, Kathy resides on her own 5-acre mountain in her dream log cabin. I'm jealous just hearing about it, where she and her husband grow their own food, raise their own chickens for eggs, and purchase meat from local farmers. I love it. I can't wait to hear the story. Kathy, thank you for being a part of the Unstuck movement.
Thank you for having me, Rob. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with these episodes, I love to ask questions at the beginning. Great questions bring you great answers in life and lead to those breakthroughs. My question for you today is, what is God's plan for your life? Because I want to help people understand better how to know what God's plan is for their life. And I want to ask you that question regarding your story and how did that lead to you getting unstuck?
Well, as in my bio, it talks about where I was, and God really wasn't in my life as far as me reading my Bible and just reciting verses and everything like that. But in that hospital, he sent me an angel. He walked past, it was an older gentleman, and he walked past my bed, and he had the blue AA book in his hand. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and that was God sending that angel to me. And it just woke me up. And
did you ever meet this person or talk to them, or
nope.
Just a passing person?
Just a passing person with the AA book in his hand.
Wow.
In the emergency room.
Okay.
And he stopped in front of my room.
And looked in, or just stopped?
Yep,
like what?
Just stopped and looked. And I was like, wow, okay. And my husband was with me, and he says, there's someone you need to meet.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was quite the...
So what did that do in that moment? What did that spark?
That sparked that he was sending me a message. And I got it loud and clear. And throughout my journey of bringing God into my life and stuff, I looked back and I'm like, he was always with me, or I wouldn't be here. He was always with me because some of the things, he had bigger plans for me. So I just continued, and it wasn't easy. It was very difficult. I had people putting bets out on me that I wouldn't make it. So I created this little God box. And every time somebody said something negative to me about, you're not going to use da-da-da-da, I wrote their name down and I threw it in that God box. And I'm like, here, God, they're yours. And on I went,
wow.
you know? So that got me through a lot of hard times. And journaling. Journaling was huge.
The God box. I've never, was that your own creation? Did somebody tell you about that? That's a great idea.
I was just like, how can I give? Because people always said, give it to God, give it to God.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to make a little box. Write it down, because writing down things have more power.
Yeah. Writing them down and speaking them, right?
Right.
The word was spoken into existence. So I mean, like speaking it and making it real. That's amazing. I love that. So were these names that you were writing down, were they friends, family members? Who were these people that were saying that you couldn't do what you wanted to do?
Well, at the time, my husband and I were not so together. And because of this whole situation of me being going into sobriety. And so his friends were the ones doing it.
Because he was still on the other end of it.
No.
Oh, okay.
Because he was already through.
Oh, he was already through. Oh, okay. Wow.
So that's where I don't want to break his anonymity, but we ended up coming back together through both of us being on the journey. But that's who it was, and particularly one person. So that God box had his name a lot. And but then I did have the support of great women, that got me through. I can pick up the phone. But I found this journal and it said believe on front of it. So I just kept it. I filled it right up. Found another one that said believe. I filled that one up, because when you're like, you get a trigger and you want to go do what you shouldn't do, I'd grab that journal. So that's how I worked through triggers. Or I'd go for a drive, or I'd go for a walk.
I think this is really important because a lot of people, you hear journaling talked about a lot. But what do people put in their journal is the most important part that helps them to heal. What were you writing in your journal when that was happening?
Just my feelings. And I would just write what was in my head, write it down. It don't have to make sense. It don't have to be in a paragraph. It don't have to be professional writing. It's just getting it out. Because if it stays in your head, it just sits there and stews and stews. And that's not good. Not good for someone on the journey that I was on.
So each time you write in the journal, what would it do for you? And I'm asking this just from a very practical standpoint, right? Because people talk about journaling and might not know exactly, like you just said, it's got to be perfect. People think that it's got to be perfect. It's got to be in paragraph form. I got to have my commas and my periods and all the things, right? So what was that? What did it do for you as you were just writing down whatever was there? It didn't matter how it looked or what it said. What was your feeling afterwards?
Relief. And it's just like I was dumping my brain, getting it out. And you just write. And it releases. And then a lot of times I would just pray while I'm doing it. I got into I'm a crafty person, so I got into making prayer shawls for our hospice house. So that just took away some of the triggers. And as I'm crocheting, I'm praying over these prayer shawls. And I just found ways that would calm me and not make me go visit a bar, go buy beer or whatever. Because I knew I did not want to go back there. If God saved me from that, because when I entered that hospital, my blood pressure was very, very, very bad. So I committed to God that day. So I didn't want to let him down. So I did whatever I could. And as I continue, he keeps showing me if I continue doing the right thing. And he's there for me.
So when we're talking about this journey and talking about,
quotes that have followed you throughout your life or saved you in these scenarios. One of the quotes that you had told me was from the Bible, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. What was life like when you were stuck? When you were stuck in your addictions, what was life like? Because the prospering was not there, right? The plans for hope of a future were probably not there. What was that period of your life like compared to the period you're in now?
It was work party. No concept of money. Mm-hmm. I'd work, I'd go spend it. I'd work, bills. I had no concept of money or what I should do with it. I'd rather go spend it elsewhere. And which ended up causing us to lose a home. Mm. And now it's I have money, and it's like I've had the past few days off, and I have money, but I had no need to spend it. I got the opportunity to buy something, and then that's another something of that was something simple, a simple lipstick. But then one was donated, and I didn't have to say I didn't have the money. When I wrote Warrior Women book, when I got asked to be in there, I had the money. Mm-hmm. And we do not charge. We don't, if we ain't got the cash, we don't buy it. So it's a whole different, just a whole different life.
Would it be like going from the scarcity to the abundance, like where you have enough?
Yes.
Like now you have enough. You don't need more.
Right.
And the scarcity, you never have enough, and you always need something to fill that void.
Right. Right. And the deep down, I still have a regret because I had 3 children doing all this. And I have done my amends, but 2 of my children did not accept it. Mm. So I have to live with that. But I can't dwell on that, because if I do, then that's not good for us. It just turned out that way. The one child lives in Vegas, so he does come up, but as it is heartbreaking, but
I'm sure that's really hard. I'm really sorry. Because you can't change the past. You can't make somebody forgive you, and you can forgive yourself. And
part of our, the program is to make amends. And I did that.
Oh, Kathy, I feel for you in that situation. I heard this great quote a couple of days ago, that if God forgave it and forgot it, he won't remind you of it. And I think this is for me, it was really profound, right? Because once we come to Christ and God forgives us, everything's been wiped clean, right? So it's been washed clean. Doesn't mean we won't think about it, but God won't remind us of it. Now, our memories might pop up, or the enemy might come and try to throw those memories at you to beat you down. Right. But remember that, you've been forgiven, and God has washed it clean. It's gone. So that might not make it any easier when the thoughts, well, I guess it would make it easier when the thoughts come up, because you've done the right thing. You can't change the past. And I think that's a really important part of life, right? Is being able to be like, I can't change what happened, but I know I'm a new person now. And my prayer for you is that your 2 kids could accept that and receive that, and know that you were just doing the best that you could at the time, that'd be my prayer, just to send to them, like, that you're there for mending and building relationships. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because that takes a lot for you. I imagine that it took a lot of acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually a great question to go into, is just getting unstuck. Because part of getting unstuck is accepting and owning things that happened that you might have been trying to avoid for a long time. I mean, I know for me, it's like, you try to avoid the things you did wrong. You try to blame other people for them, but the only real thing you can do is surrender them over and accept, yeah, I did it, I screwed it up, and then own it. How did that help your unstuck journey? Was that once you saw the angel holding the AA book in the hallway? So that was the beginning of this, and through the AA process, you went to do your amends with your kids.
Yep.
What was
other people,
right? What was that healing like that came from that?
It was profound, scary at first, because one of the amends was my mother-in-law. So I was like, because I hurt her son, but it went well. It was scary. And I have to share that we were never really close, me and my mother-in-law, because my children are not her sons. So my kids were sort of outcast. It just never was a real close relationship. Well, a few years back, my mother-in-law got very ill. And because of my career, of what I do for caring for the elderly, she called me. And she called me. And she called upon me. And she was in the hospital, and they wanted to put her in rehab. And we're like, because me and my husband were her health proxy. So we ended up bringing her home. And I shared with the family how to care for her. And 2:30 in the morning, she's calling me, get over here, come help me. They don't know what they're doing. But we grew very, very close.
Wow.
Through that journey. And she trusted me. And she would always call me. I was the shower person. I was this person, and it was an amazing journey with her. We were there. We stayed the night. All the kids took turns, and she had that trust in me to care for her.
Oh, that's incredible.
So there's God, it's
that's, yeah. God redeems.
He brought me to my mother-in-law in her need of time, and she accepted it.
And wiped away all the years of bad memories. That's incredible. And that's what he's a God of redemption, right? He redeems us. And that's amazing. And as you were saying about that, you had to be courageous, and it was scary to go through those, to step up and kind of like leave yourself like wide open to making those amends and being vulnerable. I love the verse Joshua 1:9. I have it actually on my computer at all times, and I need to look at it more often, but it says, this is my command, be strong and courageous, do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And I think of that often because so many times in life, the world, right, beats us down. We're afraid of the world. We're afraid of man, right? And oftentimes we're afraid of like being vulnerable and admitting wrongs and putting ourselves out there and maybe looking like a fool, but doing the right thing, but it might make us look foolish to people, or weak to people. But we have to be strong and courageous, knowing that God's always there. So I love that you had to step out. And anybody who's gone through recovery, especially through AA, right, and has had to face those things and make amends with those things, that is really scary. I can't even imagine necessarily. So my hat's off to you for going through that, because that had to have been a really difficult, yet when you get through that process, the breakthrough is probably huge.
Yeah. Because and through that process, you found out who your real friends were. All the people I used to hang with, they were just drinking buddies, and you find out who your true friends are. And it worked out. I still have a couple, that are close to me. But other than that, I have, starting our journey with the Young Living, I have a Young Living family. I can call any one of them. May have not met them in person, which most of them I haven't, but they're there, and they just care they just care, and care about our journey and whatnot. But
hi, my name is 𝐔𝐧𝐬𝐭𝐮𝐜, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ @JASCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Interesting, because learning about Young Living through working with you and talking with you, and it's interesting to see, so the Young Living essential oil brand, if anybody doesn't know what that is, there's a link below. You can check out Kathy's page for Young Living on this post. But the interesting part, it seems to me, is in this organization, first of all, I want to understand, people I think need to understand how it changed your life. But it's really cool to know that through this company, there's so many good people who are entrepreneurial minded, right? But they also want to help people. They're also it seems to be a very homeopathic, all natural approach to life, to medicine, to health. So it's going to bring good people in. So it's really cool to hear. I think this is the beautiful thing about good, solid, real businesses, right? They really want to help people. They're not just trying to make money, but they're really trying to help people. And you can see that through the people who sell the products, that they're changing lives. So talk about that with Young Living. How did you get introduced, and then how has that also continued to help you transform and find those new breakthroughs?
Well, Rob, as you know, the peppermint that's all it took. One drop in my palm of my hand, and I breathed it. That's all it took. Because as you mentioned earlier, I was suffering with respiratory issues, because once you stop putting that poison in, boy, the stuff that come about that you've been hiding. So that was also a journey that we had to go through. But I was on all kinds of stuff and nothing but one drop of peppermint just was opened me up. I breathed it in 3 times, and I'm like, I don't know what this stuff is, but I need to know more. So we went to a class, because I took it home to Matt, and I'm like, honey, gotta try this, smell this. And he's just like, and I can put this in my hand anytime throughout the day, and he'll hold his hand out. Give me. It's just a habit for us now. It's our lifestyle. But so I went to a class and I learned a little bit more, and I'm just like, I bought what they called the home remedy kit, and it had 10 oils in it, and they talked about putting them where, if you look at my medicine cabinet, it's all oils. That's all you see. And that's just from our research. And I tell people, do your research. And when I talk about oils, I only talk about what Young Living can do, because I've done my research. And so you just start putting it where you would grab something else once you learn about the oil. And through my website, I have a series that I can send to people that it'll talk about this oil and give you all the information. The next email will be another oil, so that they get their own training and can learn how to use them in their life. So we just started doing that. Then we just kept taking baby steps because it's more than oils. It's everything that a household would use. Our next step was what we call the thieves line. It was the cleaner, household cleaner. We took all our toxic chemicals out of our home. Everything. And our breathing, my breathing, which was the worst, is just like, I'm not breathing in all that stuff. And I just tell people, read your labels. If you can't pronounce a word, go to Google and say, and harmful of, and plug it in. Plug the word in. You will be amazed. So it's one bottle, and it's very concentrated. You put a cap full in a spray bottle, and I have 2 of them. That's the only cleaner I have in my whole house.
Amazing.
And it cleans everything. And if you need to scrub, good old baking soda. What'd your grandma use? Go back. I think back about what my grandparents used to use. Natural. I grow my own peppermint because I put it in my tea, It's going back to what God actually gave us.
Yeah.
He gave us all the leaves and the plants and the trees.
Yeah, it's so obvious, isn't it? Oh man, our society gets it so convoluted. We make everything so complicated. Anything that's complicated is from the enemy. Anything that's simple is from God. And I always try to think about that. And we think about how many different things do you have in your house to clean your house? Like there's the laundry detergent, and there's the floor cleaner, there's the shower cleaner, there's a sink cleaner, counter cleaner, window cleaner. It's like, what did we do before all of these products? They obviously aren't necessary, yet we are convinced that they are because somebody's selling them to us. So you really inspire me in that sense of like, right, we don't need all of these things. And a lot of people will cut down on the stuff they have, but they won't cut down on as far as like, oh, I'm a minimalist, I don't need all of these things, but they'll still have the cleaners. They still like that. That's a part, I think, for especially American families and households. We kind of just assume this is how it's supposed to be. We need all these different things to clean with, and who knows how those things are affecting us. So you saying about going down to baking soda, like, yeah, baking soda, right? It's good for everything. You can drink it, you can clean
brush your teeth with it.
Brush your teeth with it. Yeah, and it has many different really powerful uses.
And I put it in my laundry, and it's the same with vinegar. It's just the simple things. But it's like I used to have an issue taking supplements. I tried them when I worked at a Tim Hortons, which is a bakery place up here in New York, and I had to be there at 4:30 in the morning. Oh Lordy, I don't miss that job at all.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I wanted a daily supplement. I was up so early, and I was running until like 3 in the afternoon. So I was and this was shortly after I started my journey, before I knew about Young Living. And but they made me so ill. I would get nauseous, dizzy, lightheaded, and I'm like, well, this is defeating the purpose of taking a supplement, so I just didn't do it. But the more as we changed our baby steps with using all Young Living products, it came time for the supplements. And we take supplements every day. I've never had an issue with them. And it's just the same with my skin. I used to have itchy skin. I never could find something that after I shower, I shouldn't have itchy skin. And now I use all Young Living and don't have that problem. It's just, I teach people, make baby steps and see. And it's like, we have so many testimonies. Just try this. If it don't work for you, you can send it back, but it's just our lifestyle now. And we started with Young Living, and I talked about the money thing, but we created a vision board. They're awesome. So we had one where we pay this off, pay this off, pay this off. And we became debt free. We just worked for 4 years, and we sat on our couch, and there it was, And a week and a half after we paid off my car, which was the last thing, I have a team member who is a realtor. And she built the vision boards with us. So she knew. And she sent me an email, and she's like, this is yours. Make sure you look at the last picture. It was a log home on 5 acres. It was just a hunting cabin. But the last picture was a stained glass butterfly window. Butterflies are my mom.
Yeah, tell that, because I want people to know that, what butterflies mean to you.
A butterfly is, we lost our mom many years ago, and I cared for her in our local hospice house. And she loved purple. She loved butterflies. And we always planted a little butterfly garden for her. And after she passed, us kids always had butterflies land on our shoulders, or our head, wherever. And it would just hang out. It wouldn't fly away. And so we always said that was our mom watching over us. My husband, he's a contractor. He was up on the roof. He comes home and he's like, your mom was hanging out with me today. So that is my logo. My mom's in my business. And my business name is Believe. I talked earlier about my journal. So it's the name of my business and my butterfly. So my business title is very meaningful to me. And I will always take that with me.
That's amazing. I love that. And so, and when your realtor gave you that picture of the stained glass window with the butterfly, it was like, yep, that's it.
I bought it. Then I went home and told my husband, honey, I just bought a house. I signed the paperwork right there.
Well, that's just amazing, because you're hearing about this redemptive story, right? I mean, talk about breakthroughs, talk about getting unstuck. So now you're on, and I think Unstuck also is like space, like the space to live, the freedom to do what you want. Residing on 5 acres, dream log cabin. You grow your own food. You have your own chickens. You got your own eggs. You're getting meat from the local farmers. It's to me like getting unstuck sometimes for people is like having a breakthrough in their business and they're making more money, or what. A lot of the times it comes down to like financial or like personal achievement, which is you're also going through. But I think on yours is so much more tangible, and to me so much more enticing and attractive, because I really feel the same way you do. Like the simple things of God are what we should be looking for as goals in our life, and one of those things is to live off the land, to be away from the insanity of like living in the city, that kind of life, and finding that peace, finding the space, and also learning how to make our own food, how to supply ourselves with what we need, and also to be able to give to others what they need, and finding natural things that help us. And your story to me is like one of my favorite stories of getting unstuck, because after how many years were you stuck, would you say, until you had you've had the past 12 years, right? And you said October 1st, 2011, you had that breakthrough. How many years were you addicted before that?
Well, I met my husband in 87, I think.
Okay.
And I was never a drinker until, not that I blame him,
Right.
but I was looking to get out of an abusive relationship. So there he was. So I just joined in there. But it got pretty bad. I mean, I started drinking then.
So like over 20 years. Yeah.
So not as strong as it got later on. Once I got introduced to different things, it got totally bad. I always held a job.
Mm-hmm.
I got fired from jobs, but I always worked. So
I love your story. I mean, the breakthrough, it's amazing. I love it. The fact that you found your way through that and then found your way into a business that means a lot to you.
Yep.
And
it's a journey, you know, it's I tell people it don't happen overnight. I always say baby steps.
Yeah.
It one step at a time. You know, it's not gonna in a month everything's gonna be better. It's a journey.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we have to be redeemed, and for God to redeem us, he has to change us,
Right.
mold us and shape us into what he needs us to be to give us what we want. Because he gives us what we want or need in that moment, we're not going to appreciate it or hang on to it. We're going to ruin it because we have to change. He has to change us from the inside before the outside is going to change. I mean, that just makes logical sense, but our society does not promote that, right? So people want things like right now, and it's hard to get used to that, right? Because who wants to wait for something and go through all that pain and anguish? But you have to.
You have to in order to, like I went through those pains and them struggles and everything, but I'm grateful.
Yeah.
You're grateful once you go through it and you get to where you are comfortable with your life. Can I improve in other areas? I'm learning all the time. You know, like Rob, you're a coach for me and some of my team members. We are learning all the time with you. You know,
and that's the amazing part of life. Never stop learning. It's beautiful.
Right. And I'm just went through a small business challenge. She blew my brain. You know, I'm like, wow, this is cool. You know, always learning. Our company has classes. Well, my upline, or one of my mentors, always has classes. I attend them. I always learn something.
Mm-hmm.
I'll write a word or something. You're always learning.
And that's part of, so you said, as we come to the conclusion of this, I think it's really important to remember, like, the people you surround yourself with, and you can hear this often, right? But you might not like take it into practice. The people you surround yourself with will change the way you think, change the way that you act, change the way that you show up in life. And you change. Like, whenever you're a drinker and you're hanging out with drinkers, there's not going to be any like major breakthroughs. There's not going to be anybody who's really inspired to do something amazing or positive, or, you know, those people are stuck. Now, they might be good people. They might be your friends. They might be loving people who are very good, but they're stuck. Right. Mm-hmm. And when you start to find people who love to learn and who love to help one another and who are looking to improve their life, like, your life changes because of that. And I can see that from you. I know that's true for myself. So I just encourage people, like, if you hear that, you know, you're the sum total of your 5 closest friends or people you are in contact with. That's very true. And I'm not saying to cut people out of your life and never talk to them again. You don't have to. You don't have to cut them out. When you start to change, your surroundings change, your circles change. Doesn't mean you won't ever talk to those people again. Right. Some of them will come along with you on the journey. Some won't. You can still be friends with them, but things will change, and that's good. Change is good. Yeah. I think we're afraid to. We feel like we're condemning or convicting people because we change. Mm-hmm. Well, that's kind of what has to happen, because that's what happens when you change. You convict the people around you. They might feel condemned because of how you're living. Right. You can't do anything about that. Mm-hmm. If you want to change, you've got to take that up for yourself. So your story is just really inspiring. And I just want to thank you for working with me and for letting me, like, learn about what you and Carol and Rebecca do, and to walk through that journey with you, because I love it. And I love the fact that all 3 of you that I work with, just some background stuff, you guys all live in the same area and all have the same kind of mindset of, like, wanting to live off the land, and it's a kind of mindset that I want to have, in the sense that, like, I want to have my own chickens. I want to have my own space. Who doesn't want that? It just sounds so appealing, and getting back to nature and going back to the natural from the unnatural. What would you want to leave the audience with as we sign off? What do you want to leave them with, just as like an impactful message or something you feel like they should walk away with?
Just listen to your heart, not the people around you. Listen to what you want, and just go. Take a step. Take that first step. Take the second step, and just keep going.
Love it. Yeah, one step at a time. And you said baby steps. I always think of What About Bob. I say this all the time. The movie What About Bob with Bill Murray, Richard Dreyfuss tells him to take baby steps. And he's like baby stepping around the office. And I always think of that because like it's just tiny little baby steps, you know, one after another, get you to where you want to go. Not in one big long jump, but like in short little.
And as you take that baby step, you're going to see a God wink, a God moment. And then you're going to take another step. And there's God again. He's watching you.
Yeah, absolutely. So good. So Kathy, what's the best way if people want to get a hold of you after watching this? What's the best way to get a hold of you right now?
Facebook is where I'm at most of the time. You can find me there. And then just message me. I have a website, 𝐔𝐬𝐯𝐞𝐦𝐿/Kathy Mincer. And on the website will start you a journey. You can just start reading about Young Living, and we're the world leader. We've been 30 years, you know, so it's a strong company-owned business. So that meant a lot to us too.
I love that. And all those 2 links are also in the bio for this episode. So go click on those. Go talk to Kathy, meet her for yourself. And I just want to thank you, Kathy, for telling us your story, for the breakthrough you've experienced, and for being a part of the Unstuck movement. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Rob.